Please subscribe, like, and share. I love you.
Blessing was 22 years old when she enrolled at Royal Crest Institute, an advanced learning center often mistaken for a regular secondary school because of its uniforms and structured rules. Though many of the students were grown, the environment still demanded discipline, moral conduct, and respect. Blessing was known for her quiet nature. She sat at the front of the class, kept her notes tidy, and avoided unnecessary drama. Raised by a God-fearing mother, she believed that love should be patient, respectful, and purposeful. She had never been in a relationship, not because she was undesirable, but because she was careful. Then Daniel noticed her. Daniel was everything people admired. Tall, handsome, confident, and outspoken. Teachers praised his leadership skills, students admired his charm. Many girls wanted his attention, but he gave it to Blessing. At first, she thought it was coincidence. Then it became deliberate. He walked her to class. He called her after lectures. He asked about her dreams, her fears, her faith. He spoke gently and listened attentively. For Blessing, it felt like answered prayers. But what she didn't know was that Daniel's interest was not sincere. One evening, surrounded by laughter and ego, Daniel made a reckless bet with his friends. He wanted to prove his influence, to show that even the most reserved girl could be won quickly. They laughed, daring him to try. Daniel accepted the challenge, not realizing that his decision would mark both their lives forever. He began to rush Blessing emotionally. He spoke of love too soon. He promised commitment without responsibility. He discouraged her from seeking advice, telling her, "People will only confuse you." Blessing felt uneasy at times, but she ignored the warning signs. She told herself love required trust. When Daniel finally revealed his true colors, it was sudden and cruel. He withdrew his affection, cut off communication, and left Blessing confused and broken. Then came the whispers. Rumors moved faster than truth. Blessing's heart shattered. She stopped attending classes. She cried alone at night. Shame wrapped around her like a heavy garment. She questioned herself, her faith, and her future. How did I miss the signs? She asked herself. The turning point. In her lowest moment, Blessing reached out to Mrs. Adebayo, a senior lecturer known for her wisdom. Instead of judgment, she received compassion. Instead of blame, she received guidance. Mrs. Adebayo reminded her, "A mistake does not cancel your destiny." With time, counseling, and prayer, Blessing found strength. She chose truth over silence. Slowly, the facts surfaced. Daniel's deception became known. The friends who laughed with him disappeared. Daniel faced the consequences of his actions. His reputation collapsed, and the respect he once enjoyed vanished. Restoration. Blessing returned to school, not as the broken girl she once was, but as a woman refined by pain and wisdom. She spoke openly about boundaries, self-worth, and discernment. Her voice became a light for others. She learned that love does not rush. Love does not pressure. Love does not destroy dignity. A new beginning. By the time Blessing graduated, she was no longer afraid of her story. She had turned her pain into purpose. And whenever she spoke to young women, she ended with these words: "Guard your heart. Seek wisdom. And remember, what looks like love may not always be love. Silence empowers wrongdoing. Healing is possible. Character matters more than charm. God restores what deception destroys. Time does not erase pain, but it teaches the heart how to carry it." 1 year after the storm that nearly destroyed her, Blessing returned to Royal Crest Institute as a different woman. The timid girl who once avoided attention was gone. In her place stood someone quieter in pride, but stronger in spirit. Healing had not come easily. There were nights she still woke up from heavy dreams, moments when whispers echoed in her memory, and days when trust felt like a foreign language. But she had learned something powerful in the silence of recovery. Pain can either imprison you or prepare you. Blessing chose preparation. During her healing journey, Blessing joined a small support group for young women who had experienced emotional abuse and betrayal. At first, she only listened, but as the weeks passed, she found herself speaking, Slowly, carefully, honestly, her story gave others courage. She began to volunteer, mentoring younger students and speaking during school forums about boundaries, self-worth, and discernment. What once felt like shame became testimony. Teachers noticed her transformation. Students respected her voice. And for the first time, Blessing felt that her life had meaning beyond survival. Healing does not mean temptation disappears. In her final year, Blessing met Michael, a calm, respectful young man who admired her intelligence and character. Unlike Daniel, Michael never rushed. He asked questions. He listened. He respected her boundaries. Still, Blessing was afraid. She questioned every compliment, every smile. Trauma had taught her caution, but healing reminded her not to build walls where she needed wisdom instead. With guidance from her mentor, Mrs. Adebayo, Blessing learned a new truth. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means choosing wisely. Slowly, trust returned, not blindly, but thoughtfully. Meanwhile, Daniel's life had taken a very different path. The charm that once shielded him no longer worked. Opportunities closed. Friendships faded. He struggled with guilt and regret. One afternoon, he saw Blessing speaking confidently at a campus event. Strong, respected, radiant. It broke something in him. Daniel wanted forgiveness, but he realized something painful. Forgiveness is not entitlement. It is earned through change. Blessing graduated with honors. Her story had gone beyond the campus, inspiring community outreach programs and youth discussions. She was invited to speak at schools, churches, and seminars. Her message was simple but powerful. Love is patient. Wisdom protects silence, feeds abuse. Healing restores dignity. She no longer defined herself by what happened to her, but by what she rose from. Standing at the podium on graduation day, Blessing looked into the crowd. She smiled, not because the past no longer hurt, but because it no longer controlled her. She had learned to love herself. She had learned to forgive without forgetting. She had learned that life after healing is not weaker, but wiser. And as she stepped into her future, her heart anchored in faith and purpose, one truth remained clear. What tried to break her became the foundation that built her. Healing is a journey, not an event. Pain can become purpose. Trust must be rebuilt with wisdom. Forgiveness does not erase accountability. A broken past does not cancel a beautiful future.